Hello, welcome to Philly, welcome to my kitchen. And tonight is one of my weekday or weeknight meals, meant to be easy, something for you to go to, something to bring some variety to your dinners. I'm a working person. I have a full-time job besides this fun that I do with YouTube. So sometimes I just need something that's quick and easy. And right now we are at the end of April, and in the United States, getting towards the warmer months. And honestly, I don't know about y'all, but during the winter, I feel like with the way we eat, kind of put on a few extra pounds. So I'm definitely thinking about lighter meals and just ways to be tasty, but maybe not a little bit kinder on the hips. So I'm very excited about tonight. Tonight, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite recipes from A Skinny Taste, and the chef and the creator is Gina Homolka, and she does all the recipes for Skinny Taste. It's a great, she's a great person to follow. She's got a great blog, wonderful recipes. And the one today is Skillet Chicken Cordon Bleu. So you can tell in the name that it's all going to be done in the skillet, which makes it nice and easy just off the get-go. But it's also a lighter recipe, but light on calories, not light on flavor. Absolutely delicious recipe. So welcome to my stream, and we're gonna get going. I'm gonna start with a side dish that I'm gonna be having with my Skillet Chicken Cordon Bleu. And I know she has it in her picture, and right now asparagus is delicious, so I'm gonna be having steamed asparagus on the side. I'm gonna do something just a little bit to kind of zhuzh them up at the end, that's simple and actually easy with the other flavors that we're having in our meal. So let me grab the asparagus. So went to the market and got this beautiful asparagus, and I know during season, sometimes you find that it is thinner, sometimes it's thicker. And what I've come to find out is that really I kind of enjoy both. But asparagus oftentimes can be grown in quite a sandy soil, so it really is important to give it a good wash. One of the things I do just to reuse the bag that the asparagus came in is I will actually use the bag to help rinse it off. And let me show you how I do that. Let me get a knife. If this is your first time joining one of the streams, welcome. And I'm super excited that you came. And feel free to say hi in the chat, but don't feel like you have to do that either. Sometimes people just enjoy watching from the comfort of their own home and they really don't want to chit chat. But other times they might want to chit chat. Oh, DS. Now this is one of my friends that does like to chit chat, and that is DS. And he is starting a new YouTube channel. So welcome, DS. I'm so glad that you are here with Ruby with a few mojitos. And so did you make me one? Did you make me a mojito? I'll be drinking with you in spirit. So DS and Ruby, I was just talking about how I like to clean my asparagus. Sometimes asparagus can be very sandy, so I do want to make sure and clean it well. I do store it. By the way, just to kind of, for those of you, and DS, I know you guys know this, but for anyone that's newer to cooking, I hope on my channel you might get a few tips. And so whenever I buy any asparagus, I always put a fresh chop off the end, and I put it in some water. And as you saw when I brought this out, I cover it with the bag that it came in loosely, and I put it in the fridge just like that. And what helps, it helps the asparagus keep the water so they don't dry out, and actually having the bag over top also helps keep them moist so they don't dry out. Because right now, I don't know if you can tell, but these little tops are so tightly closed. So they're beautiful, and they're nice and tight. And you always want to look for tips that are as tight as possible, not kind of splaying open. Do the best you can with that, but that is one of the things I look for. So I'm just going to take off this rubber band here. There's two places. And I'm going to make one more fresh little cut, because one of the things I want to do is kind of get that woody part off, although these are pretty nice. They're actually quite tender. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a cut, just so it's nice and a fresh end, but these are pretty nice. Now, if you find that your asparagus is kind of on the woodier end, then you might have to go up higher. Also, you can do the wiggle test, and you can kind of go, and where it naturally breaks is also a great place to do it. I love asparagus, and I find that I waste too much of it. So unless you're going to save some of those ends and use them for soup or stock or something, just try to get where it's just nice and moist inside there. So now I want to make sure and flush these with a lot of water because I can actually feel the sandiness on these right now. So I'm putting them right back in the bag, and I'm going to fill a lot of water. So thank you. I know I've got like a little bit of a fall shirt going on, but it does have flowers on it, so maybe a little bit springy, just not the spring colors. And yes, I love asparagus too. And Archie says, I rarely enjoy chit-chat as I'm a very quiet and reserved individual. Oh, are you, Arch? I never realized that about you. I'm sitting here with my peppermint creams, potted geraniums, and hot cocoa. Oh, it's good to see both of you and Ruby. My goodness. All right, so I'm just going to fill this bag with water. And I want them literally swimming in water because I want that sand to fall off. And what will happen is, and you can do this in a bowl. If yours didn't come in a bag, you can certainly do this in a bowl. And what will happen is the sand is heavier and it'll kind of make its way to the bottom. But what I do to get things going, I just kind of give it a good little shake there, kind of agitate it a little bit, because I want that sand all off. There is nothing worse than chewing into or biting into a really yummy piece of asparagus and having a gritty bite with that sand. All right, so then I'm just going to give them a quick shake before I take them out. Now, if you're roasting these, you would want to either lay them out to dry or dry them with a towel, but I'm going to actually be steaming these, so it is totally fine that they are wet. That won't harm anything at all. And I'm actually going to be doing them, I'm going to steam them in the microwave. You could steam these in over the stove, but I have a handy dandy from years ago when Hubs and I were first married. I went to I think it was one of my very first Tupperware parties. And this was a steamer, it's for the microwave. So it has this part that has these little holes, and then this part that you can put the water in, and so then the steam comes up and you can close it. So that's how I'll be fixing them. I do like to, since I'm using this, I like to get that water going. I'm not going to steam them yet, I'm going to wait till it gets a little closer, but I do like to get that water going so that it comes to a steam pretty quickly. So I usually put it in for about a minute with I'm literally just covering the bottom with water. It's not really deep. You don't want the water to hit that part. And so I'm just going to lay these in. And using some of the ingredients that are going to be in our chicken cordon bleu, I'm actually going to be putting some, besides some salt and pepper, I'm going to put some lemon peel and a drizzle of olive oil. So just keeping it real simple. Because really, this is the peak of their season, so they don't need much more than that. I am going to put this here so I don't forget to cook it, because that is my biggest fear, is that I'm going to be so much chit-chatting that I'm going to forget to cook it. Now I'm going to take my bag and I'm going to throw my ends there and just toss this, and I'm going to flip this over because this side now is a little bit sandy. So Arch, what are the temperatures there? You were saying you had hot cocoa, which I know you were probably joking, but I also was wondering, spring can be quite, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be quite changeable. So some days, oh my gosh, we've had some days so far in our spring that have felt much more like summer. But then this week it's been a lot more spring-like, a lot more average temperatures for our area. And so it's been in the 60s and getting low in about the 40s at night. So definitely chillier, more like what we're accustomed to, not the mid-80s that we've had a couple weeks, a couple times during April. So what has the weather been like with you guys? And I know, DS, you have very similar weather to us. Oh, Amy, I know, Aim. I'm so glad you're here, Amy. It's so good. It's always good to have you on stream. And yes, you love it? You love asparagus, especially when it's steamed, a little bit of butter and salt. Yes, it is gorgeous that way. Today, we're going to just be using, like I said, a little bit of lemon peel or lemon zest and olive oil, but certainly you could do butter if you prefer that. And Matthew, welcome to the stream, Matthew. He says, I had chicken cordon bleu sandwich with ham, Swiss, Grey Poupon mayo. Yes, in fact, you'll be glad to know that we are using Grey Poupon for our chicken cordon bleu today. And I will add that, remember how I usually, because I store it this way so it all comes to the top, and then What I usually do is I open it and it splurts out. Well, I'm smarter today. I have it flipped over, so I will have to give it a little shake, but it should help me not have a Dijon mustard catastrophe. Anyways, well, welcome. It's so wonderful to have one here. Oh my goodness, and Eugenia, welcome. You've got to love Philly's hair. You're sweet. You are very sweet. Here in Middle Oregon, we are in the 70s and 80s this week and 30s and 60s next week. Yes, so, you know, it's interesting. I wonder if we'll be getting that weather then in a week or so, because that's where we are right now, but we had some of that warmer stuff before. And so maybe we'll get warming up. I don't know. Spring is all about change. Change of flowers, plants, but it's also change of weather. Not just changing to the warmer, but also flip-flopping. Lots of flip-flopping. All right, so we have our asparagus ready to go. We're just going to pop that in the microwave when it gets a little closer to our main attraction being done. But let's get to our main attraction. Let me get some of our ingredients out. So we are going to be having dinner, when Hubs gets home. So, this is just my usual cooking time, right? This is when I'm getting stuff together. I just happen to be chatting with some of my favorite people while I'm getting it together. So what we are going to be making this iconic dish with is we've got some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Now, in the recipe, Gina talks about a pound of chicken, 4 portions. This one is almost a pound. It's like 0.88, and there's only 3 portions. I'm just cooking for Hubs and I, so I'm just going to be making 3 portions. But I certainly like that sauce, so I'm going to keep all the other measurements the same. And then I've got some ham, so let me get that out. And of course, Swiss cheese. The other ingredients that we'll be using is we're going to need some flour, although if you need gluten-free, you could absolutely use gluten-free flour in this recipe. So we have some lovely ham here. You can pick your favorite kind. First of all, you do you. But I wouldn't go with some of the fancier hams. Like I wouldn't do the peppered ham. That would be a really strong, I love peppered ham, but that'd be kind of strong in this. The honey ham could be interesting, add a little sweetness, but I just went for the tavern ham. And I got some boar's head, just some straightforward ham. And then we, of course, have our Swiss cheese. So we'll get that out. So ham and Swiss, and that'll be it. The other ingredients we'll be using are some, of course, salt and pepper. Flour, we'll use a smidge of butter, and I'm actually going to put the butter in a little different than Gina does. I'm going to put it at the end with my sauce as opposed to the beginning with the oil that I'm cooking the chicken in. You could do it both, but I am going to be aiming to keep this on the skinnier side. So I'll be really watching my use of butter and oil. If you are not watching your waistline, then definitely use whatever normal amounts of butter and oil you prefer, mostly in the time that you fry up the chicken, but it's totally up to you. This is all done in one skillet, which is great, so that it's a one skillet cleanup, and it just keeps everything tidy in that spot. This will not be the fancy chicken cordon bleu that's rolled and oozes out. This is definitely not this dish, although I will say, just as a reminder, it is a Thursday, so it is a weeknight, so we're keeping things simple and skinny tonight. We're also going to be using some chicken broth, some reduced sodium chicken broth, some fresh lemon juice, some Dijon mustard, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of parsley on the top as garnish. So let's get cooking with this. The first thing we're going to do, I don't think I'm going to need that anymore, is we're going to get our chicken ready. So our chicken is going to need to be dredged in some flour, just real light, just to give it a little bit of a coating. I'm going to get a plate for that. This is the time that you could use a gluten-free flour if you wanted. And certainly you can use, a regular all-purpose flour. So when I dredge, I prefer using either Wondra, which is it's what we use a lot of times for gravies, but what's nice about it is it just doesn't cake. It just kind of goes on real clean, so that's my preference. But even better yet, I like making a mix of some of the Wondra with some salt and white pepper, and I don't know why white. It was basically, the story to this is at Wegmans, they had this product called pan-searing flour, and it was seasoned perfectly. It was seasoned pretty aggressively with salt, so I will not be salting my chicken because the salt will be in here and the white pepper will be in here. And the white pepper just adds such a great heat. Like, this isn't spicy, but I'm telling you, this is delicious. So if you are interested in the proportions of, and you could use regular flour, but I use actually Wonder when I'm doing this, but you definitely could use regular flour. If you're interested in the proportions of all that, I can put that in the description later. So this is just, if I'm dredging anything, I use this. So it's just kind of a nice hack. And it all came from Wegmans. Oh, and by the way, the reason I don't buy it at Wegmans anymore, not just because, you know, it's kind of pricier there and it could be cheaper for me to make myself, but actually they're not carrying it anymore. Now they're carrying this gluten-free rice flour, which is fine because my sister's gluten-free, so sometimes I do need to use like a rice flour. However, they didn't season it. And part of what I loved about it was the hack that it was already seasoned, already ready to go. So I decided to make my own. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on my plate. And as I mentioned, if you are not using a seasoned flour, just season your chicken breasts with salt and pepper before you dredge. I'm gonna use seasoned, so I don't need to do that step. And what's nice is then when you mix that together, it's all set to go, and then you save a step, you know, for the future, which is kind of cool. All right, so I'm gonna get this opened up, see if there's a little tab. There we go. And it's a little watery, so I'm gonna move these out of the way so they do not get chickeniness on them. All right, so I'm going to get a paper towel to get some of the extra liquid off. And I'm gonna use this. There we go. All right, so what's everyone having for dinner tonight? Oh, Archie and Amy, what did you guys have for dinner? Oh, yes, I agree, DS. DS was talking about all the different peppercorns and how delicious it is playing around. Yes, I mean, I think pepper is a really fun thing to play with. You know, you can get all different varieties, and it just adds a little bit different flavor to whatever you're making. So it's a great thing to try out. And the white pepper, I think I had mentioned before, when I make that special popcorn that's with Parmesan, I use white pepper in there with the salt, and oh my gosh, it just adds a great heat. It adds a great heat that black pepper doesn't quite match. It's just different. I don't know quite why. I know it's just a different berry, but it is so delicious. So these are very nice chicken cutlets. I'm super pleased with them. I'm just going to dredge them, so you can definitely use your fingers. I will right now see if I can avoid that. Not that I'm opposed to touching my food, but see, and I'll show you. You're just gonna get a nice light dredge. And again, part of why I like the Wondra is Wondra keeps it light. This is not fried chicken. I don't want a bunch of craggly things on there. If I'm making fried chicken, yeah, I would love that. But this is just making a nice little light dredge. Let me show y'all. See, it's just a nice light, even dredge. And all my seasoning is in there. And I'll get each of these. So again, I just have 3 because that's what came in the package. I was shooting for a pound, and that's what they had. So 3 it is. So these might have to cook a little longer than the ones that she talked about, because I think she had like 4-ounce ones. So that's the only change. But, you know, we can address that. No biggie. And maybe you just want to make 2. Maybe we're cooking for 2, but we'll have a nice little leftover. Nothing wrong with that. But maybe you just want to make 2, then just adjust the recipe. I love Gina's Skinny Taste recipes. I think they are so flavorful, and whenever I use one, I really do not miss, you know, all the bad stuff. And, you know, I think personally, my viewpoint with health and eating is it's all about balance. So there's times I splurge and even splurge hard, and then there's times I try to cook a little lighter. All right, let me put this away. So since we don't have our normal camera, because we're still waiting to get a laptop that can manage my streams better than the one that we were using, I'm gonna actually move the camera since I don't have I can't use my second camera like I used to with my laptop. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see the oven or the stove when we bring it over there. So I've dredged this. The next thing I'm going to make before I get started is I just want to make the mixture that's going to be going, that we're going to be saucing the chicken with. So I'm going to get my pan on so that it can start getting warm. So we're going to want it on medium-high heat, and I'll move this over right before it's time to do that. So in our sauce that we'll be putting on later, we're going to be using some Dijon mustard, some chicken broth, and so I get this. This is the one that I usually get so that I don't have a bunch of cans of chicken broth. It's called Better Than Bouillon, and this is a delicious one. So I need 3/4 cup, and I just opened a new one. There we go. They have all different kinds of flavors, and I think they're quite tasty. Basically how it goes is 1 teaspoon to a cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3/4 cup in. And I'm just going to try to approximate. Okay, I know you shouldn't do this eye level, but this is not baking. I don't need to be as precise. So I'm just going to approximate 3/4 teaspoon of chicken broth. Okay, put that away. And let me see here. 1 second, friends. And I'm going to heat this up in the microwave so that the bouillon will dissolve fully into the water to make a nice broth. So let me go put that in. A minute should be all I need, to be honest. Let me see how you're all doing. So you're making salmon patties. I love it. And Amy had a cheesy burger and some fries. That sounds fabulous. And Dad put I will check that out. I will definitely check that out. I love salmon. And Matthew said, unless it's air fryer chicken. So I wonder what, I must have missed something. Let me see if I can find out what you were talking about, Matthew. The other day I had dinner with chicken asparagus in a hot pot. Oh, and DS, potato flour is a great alternative. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And then DS says, Archie, those chicks are adorable. Oh my goodness. It made me think actually about when I taught at the beginning of my teaching career. We did the whole like eggs and chicks, and I was in this little studio apartment. It's before I was married. I think it might have been before I met Andy, or right before I met Andy. And so I had to bring him home. Again, it was a studio apartment. It was one room, right? And they go to sleep and then they wake up, and they go to sleep and they wake up like about every 5 minutes. And I basically was trying to sleep, and I had the heat lamp and everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep. So finally I put him, the one place I could put him was in the bathroom and close the door so that they would have the heat lamp and be able to do all their noises, and I was able to get some sleep, which I was grateful for. All right, I just took it off of the stove because I didn't want my pan to get too hot. I'm gonna go ahead and get these going on my pan, and it looks like Hubs is home. All right, so I'm gonna put this on here. Now, to keep things light, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my sprayer to spray some olive oil on my pan. I'm not going to add the butter. I'm gonna do butter at the end. And I'm getting these on. Since I turned off the stove now, it's not as hot as I want it. These are going to cook on medium-high. And you know what? I'm going to actually get a new plate to put them on when they're resting. All right. So we're going to let those go for about 2 minutes. I'm going to set a timer so I don't get distracted. And now we're going to make our sauce. So I've got 2/3 cup of chicken broth. Again, I used my Better Than Bouillon. And to that, I'm going to be adding some Dijon lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of flour. So first I'm going to get my Dijon. And I need 1/2 of a tablespoon of that. So this is measured. Let me make sure that's there. All right. And Hubs, when you want the microphone's right there. Just got to turn it on.
So I'm on this one?
Well, I'm sure they would love to hear your voice. You know what'll happen if Archie sees you, but I'm sure, no, of course you're going to be tasting this. Oops, I went a little heavy on the Dijon, so I'm just going to take a smidge of it off. There we go.
I thought my
So,
work was done after the
I know, he's like, no more streams, right?
monstrosity.
Ah, you can't say no more streams. That would be just sad. All right, so I put a tablespoon. I'm going to get my little mini whisk. I don't know if you see, Arch, but I've got a little rainbow whisk here waiting just for you. There we go. So I've got my Dijon. And then I'm going to, actually I do need this back because I'm going to need to squeeze a little lemon juice out of my lemon. And I'm going to, where's my squeezer? I want my squeezer. Oh, I need 1/2 ounce, which is 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And I also want to get some lemon zest off this for the asparagus. So let me get my zester. I use my microplane. Love my microplane. Just check. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to get this zested. This will put good flavor with those oils. I've got 1/2 one, so I'm going to be a little careful that it doesn't slip out of my hand. There we go. I don't need a ton, so that should be plenty. And then I'm going to juice the rest of it. What I like to do, since it's already cut that way, is I'm going to put it back this way and get that juiced. So I just need 1/2 ounce. Don't be stingy. There we go. I think we got it. Got a little seed in there too. Oh, I'm getting juice all over the place. All right, let me get that little seed out, lest we get that in our in our chicken. Let's see there. Come on, bugger. Oh my goodness. I see my timer went off, so I want to flip my chicken. I'll flip my chicken. I'll get that seed out next. All right, so let me get my tongs. And what I'm going to do, just to help with browning, and I will show, I'll change us all over here in just a minute, friends, is I'm going to spray the top with just a little bit of olive oil and give those a nice flip. Let me show you. Like I said, I'll be moving the camera in a minute, and I want to get my timer back for 2 minutes. I put it for 2:30. You see just a nice, lovely little bit of light brown. We're not looking for a dark sear. But you can see in just that little bit of oil, it actually gives really nice color. Okay, so now we gotta get this silly thing out. Let me see, I'm gonna find you. Okay, all right, I got it. There we go. Okay, so I have my lemon zest for the asparagus. I'm gonna put this over here so I don't forget. And I'm going to put my olive oil there. And I have in here my chicken broth, my Dijon. I'm going to add my tablespoon of lemon juice. And then I'm going to be adding, as I had mentioned, I think she said in her recipe, 1 teaspoon of flour. So again, I'm going to use the Wondra. Wondra is great for this kind of stuff. So it can measure out really well. So let me just measure out some Wondra. There we go. 1 teaspoon of Wondra. And then I'm just going to mix it up. And here it's going to help it thicken and make a nice sauce. And as Dia said, you could use potato flour. You could use one of the gluten-free all-purpose flours. Really, you could use a bunch of different things for it. I'm bringing my butter over here because I want to make sure I add that to the sauce at the end. So the reason why I'm leaving my butter to add at the end is because the butter to me adds a nice flavor, of course. And I felt like keeping it to the end would enable that flavor to really show and really come through. So that was kind of my thinking, you know, with that decision. I just want to wipe this real quick. You can do whatever you want there, but I'm just gonna wipe this real quick. All right.
Can I
So
throw this in the trash?
absolutely. So I'm going to move the camera so you can all see the stove because we're going to have some stuff going on. So do not get seasick, y'all. Okay, you can see hubs being hubs. We're going to come right around here. So hubs, I might be a little bit in your way. So just excuse me a sec so I can get the camera positioned. Sorry, friends. Okay. Okay, let's see there. I'll make sure you can see that. Excellent. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get out. Let me turn off that timer so we can see. So it's been 2.5 minutes on both sides. So we're going to check out the other side. Lovely. See how nice? That really gives a great color with just a little bit of oil. I'm going to let them cook 1 more minute because one of the things, again, these are a little bit thicker. They are going to cook a little bit in the sauce once we make the sauce, and it's going to kind of simmer in there with a lid. I just want to make sure that the thickest part is going to be cooked enough. So let me just give it 1 more second. I'm going to get my lid, and then I'm going to transfer them to a plate. Sorry for the clatter. Oh,
Jeez.
yikes. Oh, it's that one pan.
Well, it
I
doesn't
will
help-
not miss this drawer when this thing
Doesn't help that we're missing a
finally
drawer.
takes care of itself. All right, so we're going to take these off. I'm just going to keep these warm in the microwave. Oh, and actually I'm not going to keep them warm in the microwave because I'm going to get my asparagus going. This is all going to come to bed. Let me just think on that. No, because I'll put the asparagus in, let me just thinking aloud, when I put the lid on this. Okay, so now we've got all these lovely brown bits. Do you see those, friends? And that's what we want to take advantage of. So I'm going to be adding here my sauce to this. Woo! And I'm going to whisk and whisk and whisk, and I'm going to turn it down to medium-low. And I'm going to let this reduce and become yummy. That was fun.
Hello, DS.
Who says cooking wasn't fun? No one said cooking wasn't fun. You all think cooking's fun. I think cooking's very fun. It's a little more nerve-wracking when you're on a live stream, but I will say, as much as I missed being able to have my cameras and everything like I did for my other streams, there is something that is really nice having the confidence knowing my tech is going to work. So that's the one thing that I really am appreciative of here.
You just jinxed yourself.
I know. Did you hear that? Okay. All right. And honestly, y'all, I'm just glad that I'm not as hyped as I was a little bit ago. Like, not a little bit ago, this weekend. Oh my gosh. I watched that. It was painful.
I think we're all happy you're not.
Can you hand me that little blue knife there by chance? So I'm going to add just a little bit of butter. They say, a half a teaspoon, but I use less oil. So I'm going to add probably like a teaspoon of butter just to give a little bit of flavor. Mix that into the sauce, and then I'm going to be adding my chicken back. There we go. I'm going to add my chicken back, and we're going to cover this up and let them finish cooking. Get those nestled in. Now, our chicken are not well dressed. They need their yumminess, what makes this chicken cordon bleu what it is. So we're going to be putting on some ham. Let's see here. I'm going to try to make them so they'll fit. So a nice piece of ham there. A nice piece of ham there. Let's see. And a nice piece of ham there. We got that lovely ham. The ham, I think, looks really good. Oh, it's tasty. You want a bite?
Yep.
And then our cheese.
Good ham.
It is good ham. I'm going to move him over so that he doesn't stick with his cheese. I'm going to put a slice of cheese on each. You can see it's bubbling away. There we go. And then I'm going to cover this. Oh, that might not work because that's going to stick to the cheese. 1 second, friends. Yep, that is going to stick. Let me see. Maybe it won't. All right, we shall see. Oh well, if it sticks, it sticks. I just wanted you to be able to see it. That's why I wanted to do it this way. Hopefully, obviously this lid does not fit the pan. This pan does not have its own lid, so I either go way bigger or I go smaller, but I wanted this one because it was clear, so this will just have to do. Meanwhile, we're going to get our, where did it go? Oh, our asparagus cooked. So we're going to put this, I'm going to take this top part off, put the bottom part into the microwave for 1 minute, and then I'm going to add the asparagus in for 4 minutes. There we go. So put this in for 1 minute. All right, so that's going for 1 minute. Let me put my ham away. Let me catch up on the chat. Let's see what everyone's saying. And I'm actually going to move the camera back also because this is all there is to see right now on this part. So I can scooch us all back and now bring over the final result. Okay, so let's get this put away. And time for hold your horses. There might be a little more motion sickness. So let me bring y'all back. I'm going to go the shorter way though. Okay, there we go. There we go. Voila. Yes. All right, I think that's good, right? Oh, it's a little too, let's move it over just a little bit. Okay, so let me see what I've missed. Let me grab this. So in the chat, Crumpet, I must have missed the Crumpet thing. Crumpet is a cool name. Oh, I see. Amy said, oh, one of them's called Crumpet. That's right. I haven't named the others yet. I'm going to get my asparagus in since this one is done. You'll have to let us know all the names, Amy. I'm going to put this in for 4 minutes.
Amy said she was signing off.
Oh, okay. Well, I will, she'll see.
Because she has school tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, sweet dreams, Amy, and have a great day at school tomorrow. And let's see here. Crumpet's a cool name. Thought Hubs was prison this week.
What was that?
Arch thought you were in prison this week, so you were all over the news, right?
In prison?
Yes, and I missed the whisk
Not this
scene.
week.
Oh, you missed the whisk scene. You missed the whisk scene, my friend. This rainbow whisk? Yes, you missed that. I know you feel very, very sad about that. And let's see here. Oh, Kim. Hi, Philly. This is the first live I've been able to catch a little late. No, Kim, so welcome to the stream. Oh my goodness, we're so glad you joined us. We are just having a little conversation while our chicken is finishing. Our chicken cordon bleu is finishing on the stovetop, a one-pot meal. The only other thing we'll have to wash is a microwave steamer that the asparagus is going to be going in. But welcome to the stream. I'm so glad you could join us. So we're getting towards the end. Super excited about this. I'm going to put away the cheese and the ham because we don't need that anymore. You know, I got to tell you, after doing the stream this weekend, I'm not going to lie, this felt a little breezy today, which I should watch it because that means something bad's going to happen. If I'm feeling breezy, it's going to teach me a lesson, right? But yes, after comparing like the 5 hours, this seems so much more manageable. So super excited about that. And let's see here. And Eugenia said you can rewind, Archie. We can do a little bit for you. I think, Eugenia, we should just make a video of just rainbow whisks. I think that would be wonderful, a very wonderful thing to have. I'm going to grab a plate because things will be wrapping up before we know it. Our asparagus is steaming. I'm going to bring back over our lemon zest here and some olive oil and get some salt and pepper. Which will make that wonderful and delicious. I'm also realizing I should have let that sauce reduce, and I did not. I did not follow my own direction, not my directions, but Gina's directions. So I'm going to open this up and let this reduce quite vigorously because I should have let it sit for a couple minutes before I put the chicken in. So I should have done that. But let me just show you how it looks so far. The sauce is just a little thick. Let me see, friends. So you can see our Our Swiss cheese is melted on our ham. Our chicken is getting finished. We just want to reduce that sauce a little bit. It's definitely a little watery, and I can always add some more flour or some cornstarch to thicken it up if it doesn't thicken up. And then we're going to be in good business. I'm going to get out for us a fork and knife, because just the way Hubs loves it, we'll be trying one here, and then I'll be plating the other one for pictures that'll go on later, and he will claim that he does not get his rightful portion, but we all know that he claims a lot of things, and so we're not going to worry about that. He's smirking at me.
You're always jipping me out of food.
Yes, we should start a Twitter account for Rainbow Whisk. I think that is a lovely idea. And Archie, I don't think your band's going to work. Too many people love Rainbow Whisk. It's just not going to happen. So Kim asked, what temperature? So I'm actually, I'm in the microwave. I have a microwave steamer, and so I'm steaming it. So I'm steaming it for about 4 minutes, and I'm going to check it and see. I like my asparagus nice and not too overdone.
Did she mean the asparagus, or did she mean like how?
I think she said,
Or did she mean the skillet?
She said baking the asparagus.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Oh, it smells like asparagus. I love it.
You know why?
Why?
Because
Woo!
it's asparagus.
Well, hey, I have good effects, and they're free. All my effects are free. Oh, that is really hot, by the way. Even though it's plastic, that's pretty hot. Oh yeah, these are definitely done. Oh, they're a little done for me. I like mine a little bit more crisp tender, but that means Hubs will be happy, because the only thing that we differ on is he's always fine if I, in my opinion, overcook a vegetable. I'm always upset about it. So I'm going to take it off the steam because I don't need these guys cooking anymore. I'm just going to put this right here. I'm going to dump this. And I'm going to finish dressing my asparagus. I'm going to put them there. And I'm going to be adding a little bit of, oops, my timer is yelling at me. Let me see here. Yeah, my sauce is not thickening how I would like. I'll turn it up just a bit. All right, so I'm going to season with some salt and some pepper. And some lemon zest. And they're clumping, but you know that's what lemon zest does. It kind of clumps, so I'm going to need to give this a toss with some tongs. And I'm going to give it a nice drizzle of olive oil, extra virgin. And I'm going to give it a toss. Not with my chicken whisks, or not whisk, with my chicken tongs, but with some fresh tongs. There we go. Nice. Now I know this is in a pink, I'll leave that there. It's in a pink dish. That doesn't really help the asparagus show its color, but look how beautiful and glossy that is. Perfectly cooked. Delicious. Those are done. I'll put this on here just so it doesn't get too cool. And let me check my sauce. It's bubbling away. And Hubs, it's almost time, bud.
You ready?
Let's see. Ooh. Yeah. I would have liked it thickened a little bit more, but I kind of don't want to mess with it. And Hubs is glaring at me because he's hungry.
No, I'm fine.
I'm teasing you, sweetie. Let me show you the final product so you can see. So we have our chicken, we have our ham, our Swiss cheese, and our lemon Dijon sauce. And I, of course, had added some butter. So let's get this tried out. Turn off everything here. Okay, so we're going to there we go. We're going to put this there. I'm going to spoon some of this sauce. Just a little bit more. Okay. I'm also going to give it a little bit of parsley. You know where I'm getting my parsley, friends? From the freezer. That's how we do it.
Is that a thing, or is that just your thing?
That's, well, I don't know, I'm sure there's other people that do it, but that is definitely my thing. So I'm putting a little spritz of parsley on there from my freezer, still looking green. I'm telling you, it is just a good hack. And now we'll get some lovely asparagus on there. Let me grab that. Get some beauties.
Looks good.
There we go. Let me show you. There we are. Dinner. So we have the asparagus. We have the lighter chicken cordon bleu. And we are going to give this a try.
When you say lighter, you mean?
Well, it's a skinny taste recipe.
Oh.
Because
Yeah,
the
you're
regular
right.
one is often, I think, fried or deep fried. It's rolled. It is decadent and delicious. You use that. And I'm going to use this.
Okay.
I'm going to first taste some asparagus.
Thought you were gonna
I
cut.
thought you were going to cut your own.
Thought you were gonna cut for me.
You know what? Even though I cooked it a little more than I like, it is delicious. Grassy. In fact, I'm going to cut the end just to let you know how that is, because you know I didn't want to over trim. Oh, crunchy.
That's good.
Very good. So good. And I like that it's just simple. I mean, I think Amy actually even said just some salt and butter and call it a day. So now let's try this. I'm going to start this kind of end. We're going to take that off because that's not going to be a good bite. It doesn't have all the goodness on it. You can have that bite.
Okay.
You can have that bite.
Give the
Whoops.
bad bite to me.
I should have used a sharper knife because the ham wants to slide off. So there we go. Okay, we got it.
Good?
Got the perfect bite. Oops, my ham came off. 1 second, friends.
You're struggling.
I am struggling.
It's the first time with a fork. Sorry.
All right, let's try it. To me, it's like spring on a plate.
It is very good.
It's so good. I mean, the sauce is light
Very
with a little
light.
bit of lemon and Dijon, and then the ham, the saltiness of the ham, and Swiss cheese is such a great neutral cheese. You know, it gives you
It's very.
that Swissy flavor, but it's not super salty. And I think that's a great one to pair for ham because a lot of cheeses have a lot of sodium, and Swiss is one that's naturally lower in sodium.
Is it?
It is.
It's
And
very
so
easy to eat.
It's very balanced. And I really like the little sprinkle of parsley on it. I think that really adds, you know, a nice fresh green.
Oops.
So it's delicious. It is so good. And yes, highly recommend. It is not, again, the more indulgent concoction that many of us have had, but it is easy. It's in one dish. It's lighter. It's satisfying. It is a great weeknight meal. Wouldn't you agree? Wonderful. Well, friends, I
would.
thank you so
Very
much.
good.
Thank you, DS and Kim and Amy and Archie and Matthew and Eugenia. Am I missing anyone? I think I got everybody, but thank you all for joining the stream. Just to let you know, I will be dropping the schedule for May. How is that possible? That May is like around the corner.
Yeah.
So I'll be dropping it this weekend. I'm still working and fine-tuning some things, but I do know.
Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
the same.
But I do know that next Thursday, the day before Cinco de Mayo, we are going to be doing some celebrating here. Why do you have horse eyes?
I might have something.
So we might be changing that date. I have not released my schedule yet. I was planning on Thursday. I actually mentioned to Hubs a couple weeks ago.
I actually do have something. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so maybe it won't be Thursday. Stay tuned. Y'all follow me on Twitter. It'll be on Twitter. And of course, I'll put the schedule on my YouTube community page as well. So it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. And we are going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo a little early. We are going to be having, and I said it wrong on the 5-hour stream, it's actually Poquito Picante. That is the cocktail. And it's gin-based. I was thinking it was tequila-based because we have not had it since last summer. It is gin-based, so how funny is that? We've been on a gin kick lately, and it's a gin-based drink. And Poquito Picante means little spicy. And it is a little spicy, and I love things a little spicy. The other thing I'm making food-wise is not a meal, but just a little accompaniment. Oh my goodness, who taught me to talk? It's a little accompaniment to the poquito picante, and that is I'm not going to say this right, Cotel de Camarón, and that is the Mexican shrimp cocktail. At this same restaurant in New York City that we had the poquito picante, we also had the Cotel de Camarón, and it was delicious. And I've been wanting to remake it. It is fresh, it is light, it's perfect to scoop up with some tortilla chips. So those are the two things that we'll be making probably Wednesday. I'll let y'all know. Don't want to miss it. It will be fun, it'll be festive, it'll be delicious. So friends, thank you so much, and please make sure to like the video. Don't forget and spread the word, let other people know that would like a live stream, and make sure to subscribe if you like to get this kind of content all the time and always be in the know. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Philly Live, and thank you all. Until we eat again, friends, love y'all. Thank you so much for stopping by.